So can you tell us about your collaboration on Meg to the Trench and what drew you to the project?
Sure, yeah. Well, I was drawn by watching the first film, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I think it's a great sci-fi film, and I think it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's amusing, and I'm a fan of Jason as well. So, and then the producer Lorenzo Duono-Vachora approached me. We chatted for a while, got along. It's a great relationship. He's a good friend now, and I think that's a big thing that draws me to a show. Is that chemistry that you have with the director is absolutely critical, because you're going to be as a visual effects supervisor, you're one of the longest serving people on the film. So you're in pre-production, production, and all the way through post-production. So people come and go through the different levels of those productions, but you stay on till the bitter end. So that relationship that you have with the director is really, really important.
So this is a China-US co-production. So how does it feel, working with people from different countries?
It's fantastic. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is when I came here for the first time in Shanghai, is it's just how much stuff is moving, how quickly, and how much you embrace the new technology, which is fantastic for me. And I think that that's a massive incentive for me to work on future shows with that collaboration, for sure. I think it's a bright future that we all have, for sure.
Yeah, and what are some of the challenges you've encountered, making this film?
The same as many films, really. It's to do with the very nature that it's very creative, it's subjective. There is a number of different parties involved across the process, and it's also trying to attain scale versus action. Now, if you have sharks which are 30 meters long and they're jumping out of the water 150 meters high, you have to keep that action, you have to keep the speed. It's a bit like when I did Pacific Rim. You have giant robots, but they can't move. If they were real, they would move so slowly, and it'd be boring as action. And I think that was a really good kind of challenge for me as a supervisor, to try to attain good action sequences, but maintain scale.
There's an increasing use of AI, machine learning in the film industry.
There is.
So for you, what does the future hold?
Well, for me, there's a lot of very cutting-edge tech now, and I think we always have to be very careful with new technology. We cannot just jump into it with both feet. I think you also have to respect what we've done past, the traditional processes of doing things. I think that's very important. But I think it's just new tools to me. So AI is very interesting because it can generate media quicker. You can plug stuff in. So ultimately, all these technologies that we've got now from machine learning is to basically attain a better result and quicker. So it allows the filmmakers to have a creative scope to make their films. And I think that's ultimately the goal of all these technologies. Where we have been kind of held up is the progress of the hardware. So people have had these ideas about these things, but the computer power has not been there. But now it is getting there. So it's very exciting, which means we can get some really great stuff very quickly, and we can work with the director, and we can just essentially keep the creative process live for longer before it gets to the cinema.
Yeah, and my last question, is there any word of advice for aspiring, VFX supervisors, artists?
Don't do it. No, it's. I think the biggest thing is to have a love of film. That's the thing that I think, and a love of technology, and a love of the process. So I was always a huge fan of the Star Wars films. Every Sunday I'd watch all of them. And when I studied industrial design for my degree, it was there that I was introduced to computing technology. And I thought, this is an amazing way, how do we combine the two? And that's how I was introduced to visual effects. And I think if there's any inspiring young talent out there, then it's to understand how filmmaking is done, right? Understand how we use cameras and what it's for, and cinematography and lighting, and then see how best the visual effects can complement that. That's what directors want. And I think that for up-and-coming talent, it's to be able to understand the new tech and how to best utilize it, again, to gain the best result very, very quickly. So, yeah.